Hey y'all, it's Ali. Welcome to Little Hill Homestead. We are going back to the basics in our new series. We started with Bisquick mix and something that you guys have been honestly asking me for like probably a year. I have mentioned in a few videos that we make our own cake mix, very similar to the box stuff. So I got one box of it just because I wanted to be able to read the ingredients on it and kind of like give you the lowdown. So you guys know, all these boxed cake mixes are really similar. When you go to make them, you have to add water, oil, and eggs. It's pretty traditional for a cake mix, and ours is the same way. So ours can be changed to different flavors. So it's like an all-in-one. But let me give you kind of a quick list of the ingredients here. Ready? So every time, I can't see this, like I'm over 40. Anyways, enriched bleached flour, and then it gives you like some breakdown of the flour. It's got sugar, leavening, which they're calling baking soda, and some other stuff. It's got canola oil, dextrose, salt, propylene glycol, fatty acids, cornstarch, mono and diglycerides, natural and artificial flavors. I love that they can put that because, like, what do you consider natural, y'all? You know, whatever. Xanthan gum, sodium, something, and a bunch of colorings, which I think is interesting because why would you put red 40 if it's yellow cake mix? Whatever. And citric acid, which is probably used just to stabilize it for long term. So typically when I buy these, I say they last about a year, and ours is the same thing. So this box, you don't need it anymore. This can be made in bulk, but what I traditionally do is I make one recipe's worth in a bowl. I keep it in Ziplocs. I know jars would probably be better, but for me, I have like a basket in our pantry. I make a few of these. I just stack them nicely in the basket. It takes up less space. So on each of these Ziplocs, this is a quart Ziploc, I write cake mix. I write what you're gonna need to add to it when you go to make it. Very similar to this. I write that if you're gonna use a 9x13, it takes 35 to 40 minutes. If you're gonna do cupcakes, 12 to 15 at 350 degrees. So I make it dummy proof because if you're like me, if I just write cake mix, I'm not gonna go dig out the stuff. I'm more prone to make it and use it if I write it right on it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have this little doodad Shawn got me years ago that holds Ziplocs, and I'm just gonna put this on there. I make it in a bowl just to make sure that everything's mixed, and then I just dump it in here like I was saying. You guys have options here. This is why I love this one. I use organic, unbleached, all-purpose flour for this recipe. I get it at Costco. It's cheap and easy. That's what I like about it. So we've got 2 cups of that. If you, for any reason, don't want to use that flour, take your pick, y'all. You can use whatever you've got, whatever you want. I wouldn't use bread flour because you don't need the oomph that adds. But if you're looking for like gluten-free, use a gluten-free flour that's 1 for 1. I haven't tried it with almond flour or any of the different flours because we're not gluten-free in this house, but I bet you could without any issues. I did use the gluten-free, is it King Arthur uses a gluten-free flour? I have some hidden over there. And it worked with that, so we're good. You need 1.5 cups of sugar of your choice. I'm using, this is organic cane sugar from Azure Standard. You can use white, regular, old sugar. If you are sugar sensitive for any reason, pick something that you can put in this that acts the same as sugar and figure out the ratio. Because I know a lot of them tend to be a little bit sweeter. So like xylitol, or I don't even know like what you could have that doesn't spike your blood sugars, but try to figure it out and then add that. You could use coconut sugar, palm sugar, cane sugar. I don't even know all the sugars, you guys, but it's 1.5 cups of sugar. This one is a little bit coarse for me. I'm using it up, and then I don't think I will order this one again from Azure, to be honest. I know I can run it through a food processor to make it a little bit finer, but instead of doing that, I'm just going back to the one that I know and love from Costco. It comes in it's a bag with green on it. The next thing we need is baking powder. This is gonna be part of the leavening along with some baking soda. They do the reaction, you guys know. You need 1 tablespoon of baking powder going in. The next thing we need is baking soda. These are kind of like staples in like all recipes, it seems like when you make them from scratch, you get like a dual thing. So this is just a half of a teaspoon. Let me make sure. Yeah, half a teaspoon baking soda. Salt. So this salt is just regular old iodinized salt. You can use Himalayan or whatever you've got. We did buy a salt alternative from Azure that was made out of seaweed. Wouldn't work for this purpose. The last thing you're gonna need is some powdered milk. If you do not have powdered milk, leave it out, and then instead of water when you make the recipe, you just use milk. I like the convenience of just having it ready to go. This is just powdered milk that we get from Azure Standard. It's like a whole milk. I used to use another powdered brand, but I ran out of it, so I decided to try this one, and I'm liking it. The other one's a little more creamy, but this is a good alternative. So that's it, you guys. That would be our basic cake mix recipe. I'm gonna throw my spoon around. I use like a whisk just to stir it up, just a little bit before I dump it in my bag. And I will tell you right now, here's how you can do other flavors. If you want to do chocolate cake, I add a half of a cup of just powdered, it's cocoa powder, hello. Cocoa powder. We get the red alkalized from Azure Standard. It's like a Dutch, and the acid level is a little bit different when you eat it. I like that one. That's what we use in ice cream and cake mixes and stuff. You can also, say you make a lemon cake. You use lemon extract when you make it, good to go. If you, I'm dog sitting, hold on. We're all good. They're still getting to know each other. So our son got a puppy dog, and they were not gonna be home today, so we are officially, what did they call it, a grand dog sitting? Yeah, so she's over here today. So she's been hanging out with us all day. She's super chill, she's cute. All right, you guys, that is it. I'm just gonna carefully, I usually will scoop this somehow, but I'm just gonna put this into our Ziploc, and I'm gonna leave all my ingredients out because what I do is make a couple of bags. Like I was saying, I'll make like 4 to 6 bags at a time. Kind of think of what you're gonna use in 6 months to a year and make that how much you make. I like to make enough because I don't want it to pull the ingredients out every time. The convenience is perfect. I love this in a dump cake. We use it more than anything in dump cakes, y'all. Dump cakes are super easy. You just put fruit in the bottom of the pan. We have a recipe on the channel that our son helped us with. We just did one the other day with some canned cherries that we made for you guys, from frozen cherries from Azure. Those were delicious. All right, air's out. There you guys go. That's how we make our cake mix. Okay, so I got everything cleaned up really quick, and I figured if I'm gonna show you how I make cake mix, I might as well bake a cake, right? So I made a second batch in our bowl. This is the one that I showed you guys. I'm gonna get rid of the box because we don't need it no more. I'm gonna put this one on our pantry. I'll make a few more after I make this batch, but this is another one that it's the same thing that I just did for you guys. I just stirred it up, and let me show you guys how we make it into a cake. Hold on, dog's now trying to get the box. Let's not eat the cake mix. Okay, so where was I? Where was I? She's sitting down here. Let me see. Okay, so I have my oven going at 350 degrees. I have a 9x13 pan. I just figured this was the easiest, that I just sprayed with a little bit of oil, just like you would when you make the box stuff. Hey, I have 2/3 of a cup, nope, it's 3/4 of a cup of water going in. You need 3 eggs. This is the same as the recipe, like if you were to get it for the cake mix box. Eventually I'm gonna figure out, or I'm gonna show you guys how we dehydrate eggs, and then I'm gonna try to figure out what the ratio would be. Then you'd be able to put the dehydrated eggs in the bag, and it would be ready to go. Because I know eggs are getting harder to find. You need a teaspoon of vanilla. I thought about using vanilla sugar to add the vanilla this time, but I opted not to because not everybody has vanilla sugar. Basically, I just use my leftover beans when I'm done with them. I put them in regular old sugar and let it kind of just absorb the flavor of it, and then you have vanilla sugar. The last thing we need, genius, I just put these in here, is 1/2 of a cup of oil or melted butter, your choice. So I'm going with avocado oil because it's what we have and what I like. And again, this is the same if you do the box stuff. So the only additional thing we had to add was the vanilla. But again, if you do chocolate, you add the cocoa powder. If you wanted lemon, you would add lemon. If you want orange, you could do orange. Schnozberries taste like schnozberries. All we're gonna do is mix it together, you guys. So like I was saying, I keep this, basically I make enough to last about 6 months just because that's what I have room for. If you want to do more, go for it. It lasts about a year in your shelf-stable pantry area. I make them all yellow, and then I add cocoa powder or whatever flavor at that point. Like I said, you do a half a cup of cocoa powder. I just use this whisk thingy. I don't even know what it's called, you guys. It's just a flat whisk. And then I'm just gonna dump this in here. What I love about this flat whisk is it kind of works as a spatula because it's got a flat side. So I can scrape my bowl pretty clean. Not like perfectly clean. I saw this meme and I was laughing because it was saying, what kind of person are you? Are you a person that uses like a spatula and gets every drop out, or are you a person that leaves just a tiny bit in the bowl? I guess it's a daily thing. What do I feel like doing today? So there's our cake mix. And I'm gonna pop that in my 350-degree oven. Because I did the 9x13, it's gonna go about 35 minutes. Our oven, you guys know, this is Pearl. She's from the 1930s. She only has an oven on one side. This is just storage for, those are our lids. And it does not move heat around at all. So I have to take the pan out and turn it completely to get it cooked right. So I will just set my timer for half the amount of time, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so in 35 minutes, we will come back and we will do a taste test, and I will show you the final results of our cake mix. How exciting is that? I know I told you in the Bisquick one I was gonna come back another day and do something with the Bisquick, but you tell me what you like better. Do you just wanna see the mixes, or do you want me to see them made so that you know that I'm not a big fat liar and that these are legit? You tell me. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, we are back. I let this cool just enough to where I can pick it up and move it around a little bit. As you can see, it cooked up like a normal cake. I was on the phone and I didn't hear the buzzer go off, so it is slightly browner than I would typically like it to be, but life happens, right? My bad. But I wanted to cut a piece so you guys can see that, yes, we made cake. It's still a little warm, so. Okay, I'm not the greatest when taking it out of the container. The pan. But, can you guys see it? It looks like a piece of cake, except for that hanging piece. So it puffs up just like normal cake. It cooks like normal cake, because it's cake. So, it's the texture of cake, y'all. So I use that cane sugar in it. It does not break down the same when I'm baking with it. So it almost stays, not crunchy, but it's not an overly sweet cake. It kind of just tastes like cake. I will make a frosting to put on this, and we're gonna be happy as pie or cake. Cake? You name it. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat cake, y'all. But I wanted to show you that, yes, our mix works, and we have cake now. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope that you stay tuned. If you haven't hit subscribe, hit subscribe. We're going to be doing so many back to the basics videos. I have a list going in my phone, and I swear at some point my iPhone's going to say, stop adding to this note and make a new note, because it's like forever long. So be on the lookout. We'll have more for you guys soon. I appreciate you, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.